I'm Andy Orm. I'm talking with Robin Nixon, who is the author of Learning PHP, MySQL, JavaScript, and CSS, all in one book. Robin has been an editor on some magazines and websites, as well as an author of several technical books. I wanted to talk to you, Robin, about the kind of audience we have for this current book. There are people who know something about PHP, not PHP. They might know some HTML, but they don't know anything about PHP or JavaScript. They aren't programmers. How fast do you think someone can come up to speed on programming, coming from a background where they don't have any programming?
I think reasonably quickly, and from the feedback that I've received from a lot of the readers, some people have managed to produce programs that they've been trying to write for a while over the course of a weekend. Some of those people might have been a bit exceptional and quite fast learners, but most people say after a few days they're beginning to write the programs that the reason why they bought the book was usually tends to be there's a project they want to solve, and they find they can get into it within a few days.
So let's look through some of the technologies. A lot of programmers sort of disdain PHP, say it's an old language and so forth, and still it seems to be the on-ramp for a lot of people who haven't done programming before to really use the web effectively. What do you think of PHP?
I think PHP is still hanging in there very well. It's fast, it's being improved all the time. I find the thing about PHP is that there's no need to compile it like with a language such as C, so I can very quickly make changes and see whether I've achieved the results that I want. And also, even though it's not compiled, it sort of pre-compiles and then is interpreted from that point, it's still amazingly fast. And I think that's one of the main reasons. It's fast, you can run a lot of PHP processes at the same time, and it's also scalable.
And once PHP 5 added objects, I believe it was in PHP 5, there could be a whole number of add-on libraries with some very powerful things you could invoke very quickly.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things is that PHP is such a popular programming language that there are a lot of libraries about, and there's a lot of code that's already been written that a new programmer can draw on. Certainly things like the various repositories and so on.
Drupal also is based on PHP, and certainly the geek community has loved Drupal.
Absolutely. And then again, WordPress, which is possibly the top blogging platform, completely written in PHP.
Yes. Well, let's move on to CSS. And I know you wanted to help people to develop sites with different form factors, different screen sizes. What's your approach to CSS in this book?
Well, obviously, with the everything on the internet now being accessed much more widely on phones and tablets and a wide variety of screen sizes, it's very important to be able to target the device that the user is on. And the easiest way to do that is to write your HTML and write your backend, your PHP and the MySQL and so on, and then put your screen layout and the design, put that in CSS, and then you can just pull in the CSS file that you need that suits the device that the current user is on, meaning that you can tailor the experience uniquely and make sure that everybody gets the best experience possible.
And you don't have to describe everything in pixels, right? There are certain attributes that give you access to the device.
Absolutely. I mean, there's about 10 different types of measurements from picas to points, centimeters. Then there's percentages. There's a wide variety of ways of describing dimensions in CSS.
Now, on the database side, databases do take some getting used to, relational databases, and of course MySQL is the one you use in the book. What are some of the concepts that you've had to explain to people to make them use them effectively?
I think most people understand the basics about databases, which is that you have records, so there's several records, and you can search by keywords or by certain fields within a record. But it gets more complicated when you have a lot of different, what are called tables, which are different sets of data, and you've got some data in one table and something else in another. For example, we use the example of an online bookstore in the book, and there we might have two different tables, which one would contain details about books, ISBN numbers, authors, and so on, and the other one about the purchaser and their address and their credit card details and whatever else. And then what you would need to do to match a purchaser up with a book that they purchased is join the two tables together. So I explained things like joining tables and using aliases and so on to make the process as easy as possible.
Now, on the JavaScript side, a lot of people nowadays are using higher level libraries like jQuery. And this is to disguise the differences between browsers and make Ajax easy and so forth. And we decided in this edition of the book we wouldn't cover something like jQuery. So what are you offering readers here?
Well, the thing about jQuery is I think there can be a steep learning curve to it. And I think the important thing is, to be a good jQuery programmer or to use any of the other frameworks, you need to understand JavaScript in its fundamentals. And once you've got JavaScript under your belt, you can then go on and choose a framework that you like, and you'll understand fully all the capabilities of that framework and how best to use it. But you've got to start with understanding JavaScript itself.
But you do have a description of Ajax, and you use it in the book, as I remember.
Ajax is very important, and so and it's something a lot of people pass over to a framework to use, but it's not necessary because using the XML HTTP request object, just a few lines of code are all you need to send a behind-the-scenes Ajax post or GET request to a server. So I provide a couple of functions to do that and show how easy it is, so that even if you need to do Ajax programming, you can do it using all the information in this book and without, moving on to a framework at this point.
Okay. Did you have anything else you'd like to say about these technologies that you're covering?
Well, I think hopefully we've covered all the main bases. You've got the client side, which is the JavaScript, so that's all taken care of. And then you've got the back end of the PHP and the MySQL database if you're handling a lot of data. And you have the CSS with which to display everything in the best way for each individual user. So those are all the main parts of a modern dynamic website.
And the software available keeps on evolving. I think the book has been evolving to reflect this too. Mm-hmm. I think you really made a change in the industry by adding JavaScript to the usual combination of technologies in a basic web book. And you're continuing
yes,
to do that.
We had a lot of discussion about whether to put JavaScript in, but when we thought about it, we realized that so many people were using JavaScript along with PHP and so on, and we felt it was time that a book showed how you could integrate those and use them at the same time.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Look forward to continue working with you on new editions.
And you as well.